Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jerry, and today I'll be taking you through the DDD Dashboard, learner and subject analysis. I'm not alone. I am with Musa Simelani, who will be my co-facilitator, and also he'll be dealing with the Q&As in the Q&A chats. Before I continue, also, some of the guys will be joining in the Q&A also before we start with that. And they will be also interacting with you just to answer some of your questions. They are not here yet, but the moment they get in, I will be introducing you to them. So looking at today's content, we've done the welcome and the introduction. We'll be looking at the objectives of today, and also we'll be looking at how to analyze learner performance and how to determine the number of learners failing a particular subject. After that, we'll allow for Q&As. Then we will close today's session. So in total, this should take us an hour to finish for today. So this is how the webinar will run. So the first thing we need to know is that if you lose your signal or leave the Zoom session, please do not worry. You can click on the link and rejoin the session as soon as your connection is restored. And also with that being said, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A button. They will be answered in the Q&A chat during the presentation. So it's very important that if you have any question, use the Q&A button at the very bottom part of your Zoom platform. If answers on the Q&A are not clear, raise your hand during the Q&A period at the end of the session, and we'll try to answer that question as satisfactory as possible. All webinars are recorded, and within 24 hours after this same webinar, all attendees will receive an attendance register with the link of this recording, with also this presentation slide. So should you get lost, worry not, we have you covered to make sure that you lose nothing and all the available information is still in your hand. All attendees are on mute by default during this session. But if by any error you find yourself unmuted, please mute yourself to avoid any disturbances during this webinar. We value your feedback, so please take time to answer the poll question during or after the session, which will be launched probably 15 minutes to 10 minutes before this webinar ends. Now let's look at the learning objectives of today. So the first thing we're going to look at how to analyze learner and subject performance. Secondly, we are going to investigate the number of learners failing and how you can analyze that information. Thirdly, we want you guys to gain insights into data that's available on the DDD Dashboard, Excel downloadable reports, and how to interpret the information on those Excel reports. Now, these are the two reports that we'll be focusing on. The first one is your school achievement report. The second one will be your learner chart report. So when downloading this report, please be aware that you can get them at any level. You can get them if you are at provincial level, district, circuit, and school level will also be catered for, and also at learner level. So, but then for the purpose of today's presentation, we'll be looking at as your circuit level, but also everything that we are going to be doing can be replicated at district or provincial level, even the school level, if needs be. Now, as mentioned, this content will be sent to you. So just for your reference, please note that when looking at slide 10, we'll be looking at where you can get this report on the DDD Dashboard. From slide 12 to 15, it illustrates the information available for this report, mainly the school achievement report and the learner chart report. When you look at slide 15 to 19, we'll be looking at the filters that are applicable in all those reports. And slide 21, we'll be looking at the number of subject failed per circuit, as demonstrated. That will be demonstrated also in one of the slides. And looking at slide 23 to 25, we'll be looking at the subject performance. We'll be looking at how the subject is performing and what are the gaps. Now, the next part that I'd like to speak to is looking at where you'll get the report. Now, obviously, you have to log on to the DDD dashboard, and you will see that at the top part, you have your summary tab, you have your map tab, and now you have your report tab. So when you click on your report tab, underneath where it says learner achievement, you will see your school achievement report, which is highlighted at this moment. Now, when you click on it, you will see parameters that will give you options to, one, select which level you want this report to be at, and you can select the range of the grades. So if you want to focus on FET, you can still do that. If your focus is foundation phase, you can still do that. If you want the entire circuit or the entire province, also that will also be applicable for you to select. Then underneath, you'll see where you have the option to get report marks and exam test. So for the second one, as mentioned, we said we will be covering the learner chart report. Also those parameters, the first one, it allows you to select all the grades, or you can select one grade. By doing that, it limits the amount of grades that you can do. So, but then unlike your school achievement report, it will not give you a range of selecting multiple grades. Then the next part, it asks you to get your report marks, or if you want your exam test. The other option, which we'll be talking about, is you having the option to select marks or levels. But for today's session, we'll be looking at this report using levels. Then the last option, this is where you can select all the promotion status that you want. And this will be basically your final promotion of the dashboard. So the next part will be illustrating the information available for each report, looking at your school achievement and your learner chart report. Now, basically, this is what the learner chart report looks like. You will see your province, you'll see your district, circuit, the year that the report was downloaded for, and the term. And again, you'll see the grade that was selected. For this report, you can see that it's grade side. When it continues, you will see from there onwards, then you'll see the level distribution. So basically level 1, you'll see level 1, all the learners that are that obtain level 1, which is from 0% to 29%. Then you have your level 2 and level 3 up to level 7. One thing you'll notice also is that most of the reports on the DDD dashboard are color coordinated. So meaning mostly if you look at it, all the subjects under level 1 are red, because red means it's a fail. Then the next part, you'll see English home language. It's red when it comes to level 2. So meaning that level 2 is a fail for English home language. Then you have the next part, mostly you'll find them at amber for level 2. So meaning it's a close fail, but it's not a fail. Then obviously your green means they are doing very well. And that is normally from level 3 to level 7 of all your subjects. Now, when you move to the right-hand side of your report, you will see that the next part is your pass percentage. So this will show you how many learners passed the subject, or the percentage of learners passing the subject. So I'll give you an example of the accounting subject. You will see that it shows 100% pass percentage, meaning all the learners passed their subject. And with that being said, you will not find a learner at level 1, because we did mention that level 1 is a fail. So the same applies with Afrikaans first additional language. Also, they got 100%. Now, also depending on your focus, if you see your accounting there as 100%, in your plans, obviously you will not be focusing on the pass percentage. On your far right there, you will see your average. That will be also your plan because you already know that all your learners are passing their subjects. So the next step will be making sure that we increase the average of your subject performance. Before that, then you'll see the learners that got above 50%. That can also be part of your plan in making sure that more learners get above 50%. As you know that all your learners are actually passing your subject. So I will move to the learner chart report. So with the learner chart report, basically also shows you the same information. You have your IMIS code, institution is the name of the school. You see the accession number, the learner name. I'll explain what that means if you can't see the actual names of the learners and how to go about it in rectifying that. Then you have your gender, you see your age, the grade they're in. Now, when you see 29 promotion status, that is your final promotion. So meaning that in 2021, when you download this report, it should say 2020 promotion status. Then the next part, you see your term promotion status. This actually shows you the term of the report, whether learners passed or failed for that term. So as you can see, we downloaded this report for term 1, 2020. So meaning the term promotion that you are viewing there is for term 1, 2020, and not your final promotion. The next part, we'll be looking at the number of subjects failed. And for today's session, I think this will be also one of our main focus, where we'll be talking about what we can do with the number of learners that have failed and how to analyze that information. Then obviously the next part, you'll see your FET pass quality, diploma, bachelor, and all that. Then now looking at the next slide, this is the same report, but if you were to move to your right-hand side of your report, you'll actually see the subjects these learners are taking. Now, do not worry when you see a blank space for a particular subject. It basically means that that learner is not taking that subject. And also you'll see that the same principle applies. The dashboard is color coordinated. If it's a green for a particular subject, you know probably is at level 3 to level 7. If they got a level 1, it will also show you that it's a level 1. But again, also do note that this report is only showing you per level. After this session, I will be showing you another option of viewing this report, looking at marks. Now, before I continue, I'm not sure if Musa is still around. Can I take questions? Musa?
Thanks, Jerry. I'd like to apologize there for being off for a second. I seem to have lost some power load shedding on my side, but I'm back, and Felicity is also with us, assisting us. Should I cut, which I don't believe I will. No questions at the moment. I'd like to encourage everybody to take time, as Jerry is facilitating at the bottom of the screen. Ask any question that you might have about the topic at hand on the Q&A. I could also request you to be connected and you can talk to us live. So please pay attention to the Q&A and ask us your questions there. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you so much, Musa.
Jerry?
Yes, Felicity.
There is one request. One of the participants cannot see the slides quite clearly. I'm assuming that's when you are looking at the Excel spreadsheet. So maybe we could perhaps zoom on just some of the titles as you go on, so it's a bit clearer.
Right. Okay, thank you. So for the next part of this session, we'll be looking at how to filter these reports. Now also do note the slide number, because you will be using the slides in terms of referencing what kind of information you can get. Now, looking at your school achievement report. Again, this is the end result that we want when you are applying your filter. Now, the first rule is always note your heading. And as you can see there, your heading is right there at the top, and it's at row 2. Sometimes you'll find that your heading is at row 3 because there'll be another row on top of that. So your heading basically is where your rows are defined. It defines everything, all the data in your report. So you'll see it has the naming convention there, country, province, region, district, year. That is your heading. Now, in order for you to apply these filters, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you click on this row numbering here. The moment you do that, it will highlight everything from left to right. So always note the heading, because the moment you click on anything else, then you run the risk of losing valuable data when not applying the heading. Now, looking at your school achievement, this is how you can do your filters. Now, as mentioned, the first thing is to highlight your row. The next part is to make sure that you click on the data part, and you'll see there it says data at the top. Then the next part is to make sure that you click on the filter button. Now that filter button, the moment you click on it, you will see this down arrows there to show you that your filter has been applied. If you don't see those down arrows, that means you have not filtered as yet, or you have not applied the filters. Now let's look at your learner achievement. So the same story would apply here. You will see that now your heading basically has your drop downs. And that's the important part when looking at the filters. But also I'll be showing you on how to do this when you go into the live dashboard. Now the next part, we're going to look at some other parameters that you'll see. So right now we are going to focus at your level 1. So let me, okay, I'm trying to zoom in. Sorry about that. Cool. I'm trying to zoom in. Good. So you'll see that once you click on the drop down, that arrow there, you will see a pop-up. And the moment you see that pop-up, you will see other selectable options there. Now you have the option to sort from largest to smallest to largest. You can also sort from largest to smallest. And then you also have your filtering options. Now I'd just like to explain the difference between filtering and sorting. When you sort, basically what you're saying is that you want something to go from the lowest to the highest, or alphabetically. But then the moment you want to filter, you would want only certain information to be applicable. So if you have Musa, you have Jerry, and you want to filter out Jerry. That means you only want to see Musa's information and not Jerry. But if you're to sort, let's say by name, J will come first because J comes before M. So that's the difference between sorting and filtering. All right, so I will unzoom. And the moment you apply your filters, or the moment you sort, so because now we are sorting, you'll see that there with your drop downs, there's also an arrow pointing down. So meaning we are sorting from largest and going to the smallest. And that will be a great indication of the type of filters you've done. And every time you filter or sort anyway, it will also indicate that you have sorted or filtered for that heading. And you'll see there, that's what it looks like. All right, so also with the learner charts, again, I'll be demonstrating certain filters looking at the number of subject field when we go onto our live dashboard. Now, looking at the number of subject field per subject, this will be your slide 21. So just giving you a demonstration of the power of the dashboard when utilized properly. Now, this was the second analysis. I'm not sure if we said it was done in Free State or Limpopo, somewhere there. Now, they did a second analysis looking at the number of learners failed. Now, for example, if you know that no learners failed, those learners, they will not be in your focus. But then when you see that at least one learner failed a subject, those learners in your plans, basically you can filter out for those learners that failed at least one subject, and also monitor those that failed their home language. Because you know, basically end of the year, they have a high probability of actually failing because of that one subject. So in our analysis that we are going to be doing, we are also going to be looking at that. And then you also see learners that failed two subjects. Also, we'll be doing analysis, looking at how you can get that information and looking at the two subjects that they failed and making sure that at least they make it end of the year. Then we are going to look at the subject performance. So looking at your subject performance, this will be mostly in your school achievement report. And you'll see the applicable parameters there. You'll look at the number of learners that wrote. You will need the number of learners passed. You will need the number of learners failed, but also referencing to the national policy pertaining to the program and promotion requirements of national curriculum statement. But also we'll be also showing you that looking at the different levels and what level 1 obtained means. You will need your pass percentage also that you can find in your school achievement report. Then you have percentage of learners that got 50% or more. Then we'll look at your average percentage there, which you can also find in your school achievement report. So as mentioned, we said we are going to look at the policy of promotion per phase. Now, basically, when you look at this, you'll see that at level 1, all is not achieved. And then you have your level 2, which is elementary achievement. You have your moderate achievement, adequate, substantial, meritorious, and outstanding. Now, if you were to do even in your graphs, which you can refer also to the live dashboard under your achievement, where you look at your level distribution. Obviously, if most of your learners fall under level 1, then that should cause for concern. If most of them fall in level 7, then you know that that subject is doing very well. But also you have something called the normal distribution, where most learners fall at level 5 and level 4. So that is how you can use this data to analyze your level distribution, whether at school level, at district level, even at provincial level. Now, I'd like to show you another example when doing your subject performance per second. So this is focusing only on accounting. And you'll see that you have the number of learners that wrote, you have the number of learners that passed, and also the number of learners failed. And we expect that when you put the number of learners passed with the number of learners failed, they should give you a total of the number of learners that wrote. Then obviously the next part is your pass percentage, which is derived from the number of learners that passed in relation to the number of learners that wrote. Then again, as you saw in the school achievement report, we have those that got above 50% and also looking at your average. So I am going to stop there. And also just to recap, before we go into the lab dashboard, We looked at where you can find the dashboard and also the reports that you can get and where to get them. We illustrated looking at these reports, your school achievement and your learner chart report. We looked at how to filter and analyzing your subject and also the performance of those subjects. So before I go to the live dashboard, I would like to take some Q&As. Musa, do you have any questions that need to be answered live?
Thank you, Jerry. There is one particular question that I'd like to read out. I think the answer to this will be very interesting. This one's from Benjamin Gosi, and he asks, I'm a creative arts subject advisor, as we know that creative art has 4 art forms. How could I be able to see performance analysis per art form? Remember, schools select only 2 of the 4 art forms. If their marks are captured and uploaded as task 1, task 2, without any specification of the art form. So a question there about identifying the particular task under creative arts.
Yeah, that's a very tough one because when doing your analysis or accumulative information, at district level, there will not be they will not be identified as that. So that's why you're seeing task 1 and task 2. But if you were to do this analysis, most probably at school level, you will see the actual headings of those tasks. So I think when it accumulates, because when it accumulates, by default, we cannot assume that we know how schools have defined those topics. So, but at school level, you will be able to see the actual topics that have been selected for your analysis. Does that answer the question?
I think you've answered it beautifully, Jerry. No further questions. Let me check with Felicity. Felicity, any questions or comments on your side?
No, none at the moment. Thank you.
I also would like to introduce one of our colleagues, Yankee, who's also joining us as a panelist. You might be hearing from him. And while Jerry goes onto the dashboard, I want to take this time to announce to everyone that the dashboard for the duration of lockdown is going to be 0 rated. What that means is that if you're on MTN, Telkom, or Vodacom, you'll be able to access the dashboard absolutely free. Thank you very much, Jerry. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Musa. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log onto the dashboard. Musa, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
I want to confirm that I'm seeing the dashboard. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, obviously, you need to log on and you need your username and your password. And I'm under the impression that we all know how to get to the actual dashboard. So I'm going to click on log on. All right, and as mentioned, I'm going to select the report side before anything else. Now, I'd like to show you at national level that you can still do your school achievement or select your school achievement report. And when you click on it, let's look at the pop-up there. Hopefully my network is not acting up. Okay, it's frozen. Oh, there you go. So this is at national level. But also, if you're to look at this, at province, it's still applicable, region, district, circuit, up to cluster. Then, as mentioned, that's where you can select if you want your parameters. You can say from grade 9 there. If you want all the grades, you can start from grade 0, which is grade R, to grade 12. And then you click on apply. And which I'm not going to do that at this moment because we do have the report pre-downloaded. Then when it comes to your learner charts, you will see that it's grayed out. Every time you see a report grayed out, it means that you cannot select that report. But if you hover on the name or the title of that report, it will show you which level that report can be downloaded at. So for this one, it says this report can only be run at levels province and below with a PI role and not in grade or subject or phase view. So if you know that under the summary tab, you can still go into your grade view. You can go into your phase view. You can look at your subject view. The moment you get into those views, you will not be able to get this report. So you need to be on your in your standard view in order for you to be able to select this report. So what I'll do now, I'll go to term 1 because it says you can only get it at provincial level or below. So randomly, I will just select KZN, but I will not download this report because we need to use the anonymized report for privacy issues. Now, when you click on your learner charts, let's look at the parameters that are applicable. You have your grade R. You can select all your grades, first and foremost, or you can select one grade. So unlike the school report, which gave you a range, here you can only select all the grades, or you can select only one grade. Then also you can get your report marks and exam test marks. As mentioned, the report that I'll be showing you will be for your level achievement. Then your 2019 promotion status, as mentioned, this is your final promotion, which happens once a year. Then this is your term promotions. If you're in term 1, that promotion will be for term 1. If you're viewing the report at term 2, also the same thing will apply. Then you click on apply, then your report will be generated. But also one thing you need to note is that depending on the level that you are downloading this report at. So I can tell you that, for example, if you get this at provincial level, it will send the report to you'll get a notification in your email where you can now, it will create a link where you can now download this report. But if you are at second level or lower levels, this report will generate immediately. This is because of the sheer size of the report, because imagine at provincial level where it includes each and every learner in the province. So basically, do not be alarmed if it asks to send this to your email. So with that being said, I would like now to go to the actual report. So I will select the first one. As mentioned, it will be your learner chart, viewing it per level. Musa, can you please confirm that you can see this report?
Yes, I can see the report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, basically, when you download this report, this is what you'll be seeing. But again, you'll see that it says second level. Instead of saying second level, if you are in a district, it will give you the district name. And be urged that the first time you don't download a report, there will be a little orange line there which says enable editing. If you do not enable editing, you will not be able to manipulate your data. So let's do the first filtering, as mentioned in the presentation. So you'll see that when you select at any place, right where your headings are, you'll see that cross thing. But the moment you select the row number on your far left, it turns into an arrow. And that arrow points from your left to your right. Now, that's the first thing you want to see. Then the moment you click on that row number, now again, depending on the report, your headings could be at row 2, but you want where your headings are. So I've clicked on it and you'll see now your headings are highlighted. Now we said the next step is for you to select data. Then now you'll see your options have changed there below. Then the next part is for you to select the filter option. Now look at what happens to your headings the moment you select the filter option. Then you have your drop downs. And we said that's the one thing you want to see, that now your filters are applicable. Now let's go to the far right of this report. And we said that our main focus will be the number of subjects failed. Now I'd like to show you how you can sort from highest to lowest or from lowest to highest. So by doing this, that's the first thing you do. You click on that down arrow. You'll see that now you have that pop-up. And we said at the top part, you'll see it says sort from smallest to largest. And you also have sort from largest to smallest. So I will click on largest to smallest, and let's see if the filter has been applied. And you'll see that 3 is the highest, then it goes down to 2, 1, and 0. Now, as I mentioned, I also mentioned that, let's say you want to see learners that only fail their home language in your analysis. Now, what you do is you click on the same filter. And because now you only want to see one number, what you can do is you deselect, you see it says 0, 1, 2, 3. So you only want to see, you deselect by removing this arrow under select all. And when you click on it, you'll see that all the arrows will be gone. And you only want to see learners that failed the one subject. Then you click on OK. Now, as mentioned, when you go to the left, I did mention that the dashboard is color coordinated. Now we'd want to see a home language. So there's isiXhosa there. And we want a 1. So, but I know this report, isiXhosa does not have a 1. So all the learners obtained level 5 and 6. So depending on your subject, you can do this. So I'll see there's no home language, but let me give you an example with physical science. Okay, it's not there. All right, so let's say you have your mathematics. Now, because of this color coordinations, you can use them to your advantage. So you don't have to filter out or remove any numbers. You can just filter by color, because we did say that a red is a fail. And you'll see that you'll have filter by color. So the white color means no learners, the learner is not taking that subject. And you have your red, and then your amber and your green. Mosa, can you confirm which color, where the red is?
Red is the bottom one. The yellow is in the middle, and green is at the top.
Thank you so much. I do apologize. I am a bit colorblind. That's why I need some assistance when it comes to these colors. So your red is the bottom one. So when you click on that red, after selecting filter by color, let's look at what happens. So I'm going to filter by color. So literally, this list now is only the learners that failed mathematics literacy, only as the one subject failed. And if you're to confirm this, you'll see history, they didn't fail history, geography, they didn't fail geography, life science, none of those were failed. They only failed mathematics literacy as their subjects. So now let's look at how can we do this, looking at learners that failed 2 subjects. And in your plans, you can include these learners. So I'll go to the right-hand side. And again, always be aware of the filters that you have applied. Because sometimes you'll think that there's data missing, only to realize that you have applied certain filters at certain headings. So that means that that information will not be applicable. So I'm going to remove my filter. All I have to do is just click on select all. And again, where there's an arrow, a tick, that means it has been selected. So I want all the subjects, all the learners. So now my focus is learners that failed 2 subjects. I'm clicking on select all, which will remove all the parameters. And I want only learners that failed 2 subjects. So I click on OK. And when you go to the right, these are the subjects they have taken. So let's look at the one that failed life. Life science. Okay, yeah, that's the right color. And let's say you also wanted those that failed geography. Well, it looks like they all failed geography. And you say, okay, you don't have the filter by color because geography, they're all in red. So already you know that these are the only subjects they have failed. And if you were to confirm this, you will see that mathematics, no one failed mathematics, life orientation, no one failed life orientation. And looking at isiXhosa home language, no one failed that subject. So if you want to come with your intervention plan, that could be your analysis looking at this report. And you come up with ways of making sure that they do make it end of the year, because it's only 2 subjects. Now, because I did mention that this report, you can select it, you're looking at marks, I will be switching to a report that shows you your mark attainment. So I will stop sharing now. Then I'm going to bring up the report that only shows us marks. Musa, can you confirm that you can see this report?
Not sure Musa is still in, but yes, Jerry, I can see the report.
Thank you so much, Felicity. So again, you'll see it's the same report. You will have the same headings. And basically you can still apply and use the same filtering process that I showed you. Right, so you have the number of subject filled. So let's just look at how to do the filters one more time. You can do that filter and you say data, you click on filter. Now your headings have the drop-down option. Now with that being said, I did mention that depending on the subject that you are interested in, if you know your subject is doing very well, then the aim will not be looking at the number of learners that passed. When you look at the far right, okay, not far right, okay, we don't have it here. Okay, let's look at absenteeism or economics. All right, let's do it like this. So there's also one thing where you want to look at the number of learners that got. So remember in the school achievement, it showed you the number of learners that got over 50%. So also don't forget, we spoke about sorting from largest to smallest. You can sort by colors depending on what you want to see. Obviously red are learners that failed, and then you have your amber and you also have your green. So you have the option also to look at different number parameters. If you want to only see learners that got 100%, you can do that. But you also have the option to show to select learners that got above 50% or learners that got below the 40%. So whatever your target is, according to your plan, you can still do that and get the names of those learners or a report of only learners that got below your target that you have set for the year. So I will give you an example here. So you will see that we have does not equals to, we have equals to. So equals to means you only want that number. Then you have greater than, means that you want the any number above that number. So if you say greater than 40, that means you want 41 up to 100. But the most important one is greater or equals to. So if your target is 40%, for example. So let me select that. If your target is 40 and you're saying any learner that got below 40, you want to have an intervention plan in place. What you do is, so we say greater than, so greater than 40. So these are the ones that got above 40, that got 40 and above. And the moment you do that, you'll only get learners that got 40 and above. So I type 40 there, then you click on OK. And as you see, these are all the learners that got above 40. Now let's say you want learners that got 39 and below. So the same option, you click on it, number filter, and you say less or equals to. So less or equals to means you want to start by that number going down. But if you say less than means from the number you are going to be putting in. So let's do it practically. If I say less than 40, the count will be from 39. because 39 is less than 40. All right, so we are going to apply this filter. So as you see, now these are all the learners that got below 40. So already you can do an analysis based on your targets set at the district or only for your subject. So I will end my presentation here because I'm seeing that we are left with 15 minutes. So just to look at what we've done today, let me put in my presentation back. All right. So I think looking at the options that we had, we were able to do a couple of analysis and drop information, looking at colors because it's color coordinated, and looking at levels, and also looking at the range if you do have a target that you're going for. So I will leave the presentation for now here and go for the Q&A. Is Musa back?
No, Jerry, not yet.
Right. Yankee, I see that we do have Yankee in here. Yankee, do we have any questions that need to be answered?
Thanks, Jerry. No, we don't have questions yet, but we have an official who raised up his hand. I don't know if it's a he or she who buamang.
Correct.
Okay, Jerry, there two things. The individual that had raised their hands is Mr. I'm assuming Benjamin Nkosi. And the question, there is one question that asks, are we able to view the previous years as well? From Pindile.
100%. No, thank you for that, Felicity. Yes, you are able to view previous terms, previous years, long as the data was submitted. Because we need to understand that this information comes from our schools. So if schools were submitting 2 years ago or 3 years ago, you can still do your analysis going back and doing your comparison per year or per term. So definitely, even 2 years from now, you'll still be able to get your 2020 information. Thank you.
Can I give Mrs. Kobwamang an opportunity to ask her question? Okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Yankee.
You may ask your question, ma'am, or say. I think her name here is Kobwamang. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
I think they are still muted.
She should be able to ask. And then we have another official who had his hand
Hello, how are
raised.
you?
How?
Hello, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. Tell me, the grade 12s, are we gonna get the data regarding the grade 12s for analysis of their results for last year?
For last year?
Yes.
So at the moment, we don't have the grade 12 data as yet, because we do get it from the only file that we need to get from National, and it has not been uploaded as yet. But the moment we do have it, once it's compiled, then it will be uploaded. So unfortunately, I cannot promise you when we'll be getting the file, but I do hope that soon we'll be getting the file and have it uploaded onto the dashboard.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. Then we also see LG G4. And can you give them the right to speak?
I just did that, Jerry. Thank you.
Can you click on the unmute button there, the bottom part? You'll see unmute. LG G4.
I have unmute here.
All right, thank you. You can speak. You have your hand raised. You can. I think they're still muted. If I'm not mistaken. All right. Now it looks like we are going to lose that one. Felicity, you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Jerry. I am getting a lot of chats and questions regarding the presentation. I just wanted to maybe reiterate again that yes, the presentation slides will be shared and the register as well will be shared. And yes, the recording will also be shared. So not a problem for those who feel maybe they missed out on certain content. It will be shared with everyone.
100%. No, thank you so much. And also, I think we had a question yesterday with regards to not seeing the learner and educator names. So if you download any of these reports and you only see the accession number, so I'd like to explain the process with this. So if you are a non-school access user, so meaning a circuit manager, your curriculum, whatever level you're at, by default, when creating your access, you will just see accession number, whatever, in the school. And if you're looking at your educators, it will say the educator ID, right? But it will not show you the actual names of your learners and educators. Now the process is you need to contact help@dbedashboard.co.za. I'll repeat it, it's help@dbedashboard.co.za in order for you to be able to request for, they call it PI view. So PI view means it's personal information view. The moment you do that, they will give you a form or send you a form where you fill it out and say you need that PI view, which is personal information. You will take the form to your supervisor. So obviously, if you're at DCS level, your CS will be the one, or even your director, if needs be, for them to sign it and confirm that they're granting you the right to get that PI view. Then you have to send the form back to your help desk. Then they will grant you the right to have personal information. So that if you need to have these names of the learners, for example, and maybe you want to, you're talking about camps. Well, I don't know how applicable that is now with the COVID, but just by looking at that information, already you know how you can best support those learners. So I'll repeat again, it's at help@dbedashboard.co.za. So before we wrap up, there are polls that need to be filled. Yankee, can you release the polls? Thank you. Please fill out this poll so that we can know how we can better improve on our presentation. And again, this presentation will be sent to you, also with a link of the recording within 24 hours of today's webinar. Before we conclude today's session, Yankee, just one more time, do we have any questions?
Yes, we have a question and we have an official who raised his hand. So the question is, do we have an information location where we can get the number of underperforming schools below 65%, or we filter the list and count?
So basically the same option that we did, depending on how you want to define the underperforming schools below, let's say 65%. So if you are curriculum, for example, what you do is you will need to look at, there's another report, the subject performance report, that looks at specific school performance. So once you get this report, you apply the same filter. So you click on the heading, you click on data, then you click on filter. Then depending on the subject you want to focus on, you do your number filter. Remember, number filter gives you the equals to, less than, or whatever. So if your target is 65%, as mentioned, I see there in your chat, you will say equals or less than. So the moment you put in 65, those will be the schools that got your 65 and below. based on your target. I hope that answers the question. And can you unmute the one with the hands raised?
Okay, thank you. I think we lost Mr. Prince, but we have a user here. I don't see their names, but I'm going to give them an opportunity to speak. They should be able to speak. Official who registered with the number 15641163. You can ask your question.
Ma'am Ose, you have been granted the right to speak.
The official indicated that it was an accidental raising hand. Yeah.
All right, no, not a problem. Before we conclude, Felicity, any parting words?
No, none at all. I just wanted to maybe assist the one official that asked information about the underperforming stuff. And yeah, Jerry, you answered it very well in terms of the filtering. I just wanted to indicate that there is no need to necessarily count those schools one by one. At the bottom right-hand corner of your Excel spreadsheet, you will normally see an area that indicates count. So that number there will then help you there, instead of manually having to count how many schools there are. All right, thank you.
Thank you for that, Felicity. I hope that also answers that question clearly. Yankee, any parting words from your side?
We have an official who raised her hand, Mporina.
Okay. Can we allow them to speak?
Mrs. Rena?
Yes, thank you, sir. I'm a bit late and sorry due to the technological problem. I want to know how to get my progress learner by filtering.
Your progress learners.
Yes.
Actually, that is a very good point. Because I'm looking at the time. So can I quickly just give you one indication on how to get your progress learners? So obviously you'll have your learner chart report.
Okay.
And let me show you quickly, because I know that's very important also in terms of your support. Right. Now, when looking at your learner chart report, you'll see the 2019 promotion status. Now, when you do your filter, you click on the up button or the drop-down button, and you'll see there is P and PG. So PG means these are your progress learners. Now, to get only your progress learners, you deselect everything by clicking on select all, and you click on PG, which is your progress learners. And the moment you click on OK, you'll see that now it's only the list of all your progress learners in your district or your circuit. Did that answer your question, ma'am?
100% answered.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, I think we are going to end it there. No, thank you so much for joining today's session. And hopefully you've learned a lot from today's session. And hopefully we'll also be able to take it a step further when we're talking about how you can create graphs and then nice reports that will help you in making better decisions in the future. So please complete the polls and be as honest as possible so that we can also be able to take your feedback in the future for our next sessions. Do have a lovely day. And also one parting word is that always use the dashboard. The data is yours. I always say that you cannot break the dashboard. So turn it upside down, let it inform your plans and let it build on what you need to achieve for the learners of tomorrow. So thank you and do have a lovely day.